Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Bellator 252, Pitbull versus Carvalho. There are a total of 12 MMA bouts on this card, 3 fights on the main card, and the main event for the prelims is Aaron Pico versus John Dejesus. It is a featherweight bout. We have so many fights on this card. We have a welterweight fight to start off the night between Cronie, Gracie, and Trevin. Then we have Lucas Brennan versus Andrew Salas, another featherweight bout. Then we have Gabriel Vargas taking on Brandon Phillips, which is another featherweight bout. Then we have Carrie Taylor Melendez taking on Emily King at women's strawweight. Then we have Carolyn Hode taking on Amanda Lee at women's featherweight. Then we have Jornel Lugo taking on Skyler Soto, which is a bantamweight bout. Then we have Devin Powell taking on Manny Moreau, which is a lightweight bout. And then we have Roman Feraldo taking on Pat Casey, which is a welterweight bout. And then, as I said, in the main event for the prelims, we have Aaron Pico taking on John Dejesus. It is a featherweight bout. And that leads us to the main card, where we have Yaroslav Amosov, undefeated at 24-0, taking on Logan Storley at welterweight. And then we have, in the co-main event of the evening, Daniel Weightshield taking on Emmanuel Sanchez. It is a featherweight bout, 5 full rounds for that fight. Absolutely amazing co-main event for this fight card. And then for the main event of the evening, as you guys already know, we have Patricio Pitbull taking on Pedro Carvalho. Should be an amazing main event at featherweight. Should be an amazing card, but let's get into the first fight of the night. Alright, so as you guys know, Cronie Gracie versus Trevin is the first fight of the night. A lot of people think Gracie's just going to go out there and do what Gracie's always do, and just go out there and get a submission. To be honest, that's exactly what he's going to do. I mean, Trevin is 6'7" tall for a welterweight. That is super duper tall. Cronie Gracie is going to latch onto one of his limbs and submit him in the first or second round. It is that simple. And then in the second fight of the night, we have Lucas Brennan taking on Andrew Salas at featherweight. This fight should be very good. I really think Brennan's going to go out there and pretty much dominate on the feet and on the ground. Lucas Brennan undefeated at 3-0. He's a 20-year-old fighter. Andrew Salas, 33 years old. Lucas Brennan's going to go out there and absolutely dominate, and I think he will get a knockout in this fight in the first or second round. Alright, so the next fight we have on this fight card is Gabriel Vargas taking on Brandon Phillips at featherweight. This fight is pretty good. We have two pretty old fighters. Gabriel Vargas is 35 years old. Brandon Phillips, 31 years old. He's still relatively young. Brandon Phillips is coming from bantamweight to fight Gabriel Vargas. He is on a 2-fight win streak, Brandon Phillips. Brandon Phillips is a much smaller fighter at 5'5" tall. Gabriel Vargas, 5'10" tall. A little bit different there, but I do think Brandon Phillips is going to go out there and really dominate on the feet. I don't think this fight's going to go on the ground. I think Brandon Phillips is going to really land most of these shots in this fight and win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now after those 3 fights, we have Carrie Taylor Melendez taking on Emily King at women's strawweight. Now, we have undefeated Carrie Taylor Melendez at 4-0, and then we have Emily King, who is at 4-3. Now, Emily King started off her career with 3 straight losses in Invicta, Valor Fights, and Attitude MMA. First round armbar, first round rear naked choke, and first round rear naked choke losses. Then she came back with a first round submission, second round submission, and then a unanimous decision. Got her in a Bellator, and she got a first round rear naked choke submission. I do think Carrie Taylor Melendez is going to be a lot older in this fight. She's 36 and a half years old. But Taylor Melendez, she still has a lot of fight in her. Carrie Taylor Melendez, I really think is going to go out there and do what she always does, dominate on the feet, dominate on the ground as well, and I think this fight will go all the way, and I do think Carrie Taylor Melendez will win that fight by unanimous decision, leading us to our next fight between Carolyn Hode and Amanda Levy. These two fighters are both 0-0. They're both 2-0 on the amateur circuit. To be honest, Levy is going to be a little bit better with her submissions. If you look at those 2 amateur fights, unanimous decision and submission by triangle choke. Carolyn Hode, hers was unanimous decision all through the books. But to be honest, I do think Amanda Levy has a lot better submission skills. We'll try to bring this fight to the ground, and I don't think she'll get a submission. I think this fight will go all the way, and I do think Amanda Levy will win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now the next fight we have two undefeated fighters, both of them 4-0. Jordan Lugo versus Skyler Soto, 4-0 at bantamweight. This should be a very interesting fight. Jordan Lugo is 24, almost 25 years old in about 3 weeks. Skyler Soto, he's 31, almost 32 years old in about 2 weeks. To be honest, they're both the same height, same reach. The thing that's going to play a huge factor in this fight is honestly Lugo's submission game. He's obviously very good on the feet, but his submission game's a lot better than Skyler Soto, and I think he'll use that to win this fight by unanimous decision. I'm not really seeing a finish in this fight. I think the fight will go all the way, and yeah, Jordan Lugo by unanimous decision. Alright, now that leads us to Devin Powell taking on Manny Moreau. This is a lightweight bout. Honestly, Devin Powell 10-4, Manny Moreau is 11-6. They're both similar ages, 32 and 33. Now the thing that's going to play a factor is the height and reach of Devin Powell. He is 6 foot 1 inch tall and has a 74-inch reach. Manny Moreau is 3 inches smaller and has a 72-inch reach, which is 2 inches shorter. Now, I do think Powell is going to go out there and really dominate on all faces of this fight. He'll dominate on the feet and he'll dominate on the ground. I really think Manny Moreau doesn't have much of a chance against a veteran fighter like Devin Powell, and I think Devin Powell will win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now the next fight we have is between Roman Feraldo and Pat Casey. It is a welterweight bout. Now, Roman Feraldo is undefeated at 3-0. He's 27.5 years old. Pat Casey, 6-3. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, both by knockout and split decision. A very close loss in his last fight against Daniel Madrid. To be honest, the thing that's going to play a factor in this fight is definitely Roman Feraldo's power. You look at those 3 wins, knockout, he just has so much power in his hands. Feraldo's going to go out there, and I really think he's going to land a good shot that's going to stun Pat Casey. I don't think it's going to be a one-shot knockout. I think he's going to get him to the ground and just start hammering and get a nice TKO victory over Pat Casey in the first or second round. Alright, so the next fight we have is between Aaron Pico and John Dejesus. Honestly, Aaron Pico's going to go out there and try to get a knockout. He's going to make this his 3rd fight in a row that he's got a finish. His last 2 fights have ended in submission by rear neck choke and KO from left hook. This fight is going to go out there and try to get a knockout, to be quite honest. Do I think he'll land? Actually, yes, I do. I do think he's going to land in this fight, and I do think he's going to knock out John Dejesus in the first or second round. Alright guys, that leads us to the main card. We have Yaroslav Amosov taking on Logan Storley. They are both undefeated. Yaroslav Amosov is 24-0, Logan Storley 11-0. They're both similar ages, 27 years old for Yaroslav Amosov and 28 years old for Logan Storley. Yaroslav Amosov, I mean, he's 5'11", 2 inches taller, 75-inch reach, about 3.5 inches longer. Yaroslav Amosov, I'm sorry to say, is going to go out there and absolutely dominate the wrestler in Logan Storley. Logan Storley is definitely going to try and get some takedowns in this fight and try to knock his opponent out on the ground, get a nice ground and pound knockout, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Yaroslav Amosov is going to do kind of what he always does and go for submission after submission after submission, but I do think he's going to win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now we are going into the co-main event of the evening between Daniel Weightshield and Emmanuel Sanchez. Daniel Weightshield 40-11. Emmanuel Sanchez 19-4. Daniel Weightshield's coming off a nice win over Saul Rogers by unanimous decision. But that was over a year ago. He is 35, almost 36 years old. Emmanuel Sanchez is on a 2-fight win streak by unanimous decision and a triangle choke submission, but that was also about a year ago. So both of these fighters are a little bit stale. Now the thing that's going to play a factor, in my opinion, is Emmanuel Sanchez's reach. He has a 76-inch reach, which is 5 inches longer. He's a little bit smaller at 5'9", and Daniel Weightshield's 5'10", but Emmanuel Sanchez definitely has that reach advantage. And he's going to go out there and definitely try to execute with that reach advantage. He's going to try to land a lot of good shots in this fight. I don't picture a knockout happening in this fight from either fighter. I don't picture a submission happening from either fighter in this fight. I think it's going to be a very technical striking battle, but I do think with the reach of Emmanuel Sanchez, he will win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now that leads us to the main event of the evening between Patricio Pitbull and Pedro Carvalho. This is a featherweight championship bout. Patricio Pitbull, I mean, he is absolutely amazing. 30 wins, 4 losses. His last win was over Juan Archuleta, and it was for the belt. He is the reigning champion. Honestly, he's going to go out there and absolutely dominate this fight. I don't really think Pedro Carvalho has that much of a chance. Patricio Pitbull should be in the UFC right now. He is a top talent. I think he'd do very good in the UFC. 30-4 is an absolutely amazing record. He's still 33 years old, which is still very young. He's still a very young fighter. To have 34 pro MMA bouts on his record, I mean, he is still on a 5-fight win streak over Daniel Strauss, Daniel Weightshield, Emmanuel Sanchez, Michael Chandler, and Juan Archuleta. He just beat Michael Chandler about a year ago. Michael Chandler is set to fight Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, one of those top guys inside the UFC. I mean, for Patricio Pitbull to beat Michael Chandler, who people are saying is a top 5 lightweight in the world, I really think Patricio Pitbull is going to go out there and dominate this fight. It's a 5-round fight. I definitely think he's going to get a knockout in this fight. I'm not really sure which round. He could definitely get a knockout in the 4th or the 5th round. He could definitely get it in the 1st or 2nd round. It's honestly, I don't really know what's going to happen with Patricio Pitbull, but I know he is going to land in this fight, and I know he's going to knock out Pedro Carvalho in one of these rounds, to be honest, but Patricio Pitbull by knockout. Alright, so those are my predictions for Bellator 252, Pitbull versus Carvalho. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video. It's been fun, but I'm out of here.